Hello mouses! It's Monday. We're going to look at some news because there isn't an awful lot going on in the law that I really want to talk about, but there is a lot in the news that I want to talk about, so we're going to do that today. Okay, the first thing I want to talk about is actually law and news at the same time. So there's a good one for you. It's double the fun. It's a new policy that will require a crackdown on people who've never been to Britain but who have married someone who used to work in Britain and paid national insurance. They're going to crack down on those people to claim the pensions of their deceased spouse. Now, I can see why some of the people that are calling for this would be calling for it, but at the same time I can see arguments against it. Because, let's face it, at the moment, if you pay in national insurance, you put your contributions in, then you are entitled to a pension. And moreover, if you marry someone, then they are entitled to 60% of your pension after you die. Now, that seems fair enough, doesn't it? For example, if I marry someone and I've paid in all my life into the pension fund, then surely I should be able to leave my pension to my spouse, who can then use it to live on. I can leave everything else about myself to them. I can leave all my property, I can leave all my intellectual property. But if you can't will your pension over, then they've got to then find some other way of paying for everything that they'll need. And we all need money, of course. And yeah, sure, they'll most likely have their own pension, but we've put it together all our lives. We've worked together, we've lived together, we've paid everything together. So why shouldn't they continue to benefit from that, because that's the life that we've set up for each other and that's what we've paid in for. So I can see that as an argument against it. If I've married someone who happens to be not a British national and who's never lived in Britain, because perhaps I used to live in Britain and I moved abroad, and although I've continued to have my British pension because of the national insurance, I've lived abroad and I married there and we've lived there instead, then surely I should still be able to get all of what I've been entitled to and give the 60% benefit to them when I die. Surely that's fine. Surely I should be able to do that. And that's what the case is at the moment. But apparently it costs us £410 million a year to pay pensions for people who have never lived in Britain, never paid into a pension fund in Britain or anything like that, but happen to have been married to a British national. Now, apparently this is a really bad thing. And I can see what people are saying. They've never had any association with Britain apart from having married someone who happened to have lived here at some point. Yeah, sure, okay, that's a fair point. But at the same time, it is this other person's right to do this. So, do we really have a right as a state to interfere with that? Surely what I do with my property and what you do with your property and your entitlements should be your business. So I can see pros and cons on both sides. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are, because I'm still not sure myself. Okay, the other thing I want to talk about today is the news that the German Chancellor, who heralded the euro and brought it into effect, is now saying that people should withdraw from it because the currency is not going to help them survive. Basically, Europe is on the verge of economic collapse if they all stay together. Divided, they might have a chance to do something about their economies, which is something I've been saying for years. We can't have one currency with one economic policy for a huge area. It doesn't work. You can't have a continent-wide economic policy because people over here have different problems to people over here. And they've got no association apart from the fact that their leaders that they elected have decided to join into one economic union. I have no problem with one currency that works between countries. I think the euro was a bad idea because it linked it to economic policy, but as a single currency, to be honest with you, that's fine by me, as long as each individual state has the ability to deal with the currency in their own way, so they can set inflation rates, they can set economic policy, and things like that. It's kind of how we've got it with England and Scotland and Wales and Northern Ireland, all being slightly different. I mean, Scotland has its own tax system and things like that, and it's kind of working out. I think if it was done on a grander scale, perhaps there might be problems that would need to be ironed out. Of course there would be. But as a way of doing things, a single currency with different economic policies might work out alright. But that's not what we've got. And now we've got the problems of a strong Germany up here who is basically holding up a lot of other currencies. But because the way the German economy is working, it's kind of causing problems for the other ones that are associated with it. And that's not good. We're not going to get out of a recession by basically holding back one country to bring the others up and then causing unbalance that way, or holding down a load of countries to boost up the one that's already alright. It's not going to work. So it is very interesting that the person who really pushed for the euro is now saying, maybe it's time to think again. Because, yeah, it's well past time to think again. Okay, thanks very much for watching. I hope you did like this. If you did, remember to click the like button, share it with your friends so that they can see what's been going on in the world as well. And do subscribe for future videos because there will be more in the future. But until next time, I've been Kirk-Robinson. You've been watching The Knobmouse Show, and I'll see you tomorrow.